Hello, so I've got two rants today. They've got sort of different tangents. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is the term mixologist. I'm sure a lot of you would have been to swanky London bars or swanky places across the UK, and you wouldn't have been served by a bartender there. You'd have been served by a mixologist. And the mixologist is on a completely different level to everybody else. The mixologist is he's a different breed. He's obviously a far better than anything else. I can only think the term mixologist was coined from these guys who are creating wonderful cocktails and creating all these things, and they didn't want to be associated with the likes of Daisy in the village pub, who's also a bartender. So they wanted to have another phrase. So they came up with something which was far more exciting, something far more whimsical. So they thought, you know what, I'm not going to be like that. I'm different to that. I make cocktails. I do all this cool stuff. So I am indeed a mixologist. Now, I think that's rubbish. I think it's a horrible word, and often people ask the question, Dominic, are you a mixologist? And it makes me cringe. It makes me cringe right down to the bone. I think it's a terrible phrase. And I think that, if we're going to start calling bartenders mixologists, then you've got to start asking the question, what is a butcher? Does a butcher then become a meatologist? Does a fishmonger then become a fishologist? Does a baker become a bacologist? And I think all that does is serve to completely alienate the drinks scene, the cocktail scene from every other aspect of food, and tries to put them up on a pedestal. And I think it's an awful word. So I much prefer the term booze chef. So I refer to myself as a booze chef. I mix booze to make nicer, hopefully more palatable drinks. So yeah, that's the first rant. The term mixologist, I think, is terrible, and I think it should disappear. My second rant is to do with this constant thing we keep hearing in the press all the time about the demise of the Great British Pub. Now, I appreciate there have been lots of changes in legislation, things like duty going up, and a lot of these things do tend to put added pressure onto pubs. And I know there are places which are closing down. But how many of you have been to a pub and had an awful pint that tastes like vinegar? How many of you have been somewhere and you look at the selection and it is absolutely awful, and you don't want to you don't want to step anywhere near it. You don't want to have a pint there, or you've gone to order food and you've told, no, the food's off today because I don't know, because the chef's not turned up. I recently embarked on a cycle from the north of England down to France with some friends, and in the north of in the country we were stopping at various checkpoints, and along the way we wanted to refuel. We were starving. We were burning 5,000 calories a day, for example, cycling all the way, and we wanted to refuel in so many of these pubs, and obviously we wanted a good pint. And on so many occasions, we went to the bar. We said, "Can we order?" We have to order everything on the menu. We would order every item of food on the menu, and we couldn't have it because there's only one person there, and they couldn't possibly serve the beer at the bar and then make the food at the same time. And it just made me think, do you know what? These are the pubs which are closing down. These are the ones which are supposedly failing in the current climate. And I have seen so many other examples of places absolutely excelling. We went to some places and they were heaving every lunchtime. You see chains of pubs in London recently, a chain of pubs selling. It was so successful. They'd opened 20 different places, taken over 20 places, and sold out for £60 million recently. That to me is someone showing good selection, showing a good understanding of the food industry, showing passion about the products, passion about how they keep their beers, passion about how they choose their selection, and passion about how they pair that with food. And for me, that is, it frustrates me when we see so much bad press about how pubs are closing down. People always want a pint, people always do that. And if you serve it in the correct, proper way, when you show good selection, when you look after your produce and you show passion for it, spend a bit of money on making the place looking good, just a fresh bit of paint on the walls, I think would make a huge difference to lots of places. So yeah, that's my other frustration, the demise of the Great British Pub, and I think it's a falsity. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dominic.